Just try to picture our planet maybe 4 billion years ago. There's nothing, no microbes, no plants, just a hot, sterile, volcanic rock. And yet, look at it today. It's absolutely teeming with life. That incredible transformation from just chemistry to actual biology is one of the greatest stories in the entire universe. So, how in the world did it happen? Let's get into it. This is the big one, right? It's a simple question to ask, but it is incredibly hard to answer. How did a bunch of non-living chemicals somehow get organized enough to become the very first living thing? This isn't just some old, dusty question about the past. It's about the very essence of what we are. So, to really tackle this mystery, we're going to explore the most compelling scientific ideas out there. We'll start by setting the scene on the primordial planet itself. Then we'll dive into the theories, everything from a warm little pond to the crushing depths of the ocean, a kind of wonder molecule that could do it all, and even an idea that is, well, literally out of this world.
All right, first things first. We have to understand the stage where this all played out. And trust me, this was not the gentle blue Earth that we know and love today.
Let's put this on a clock. Earth forms about 4.5 billion years ago. Pretty quickly after that, we get oceans, which is, a key ingredient. But here's the wild part. The very first fossil evidence of life doesn't pop up until around 3.8 billion years ago. That leaves this massive window, we're talking hundreds of millions of years, for basic chemistry to somehow figure out how to become biology. And this was not a nice place to live. The atmosphere was poisonous, with practically zero oxygen. The whole planet was just a volcanic mess, getting constantly hammered by asteroids and just scorched by intense radiation from the sun. It was pure chaos. It was violent. So you gotta ask, how could anything alive possibly get its start in a place like this? Well, that brings us to our first and probably most famous idea. If you're gonna cook up life, you need a recipe, right? And the classic recipe is known as the primordial soup. The idea is actually beautiful in its simplicity. Just picture the early oceans as this warm chemical broth. Now add a ton of energy from constant lightning storms or that brutal UV radiation. That energy could have zapped the simple molecules in the water, forcing them to link up and form more complex stuff, like amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. For a long time, this was just a really cool thought experiment. But then, in 1953, two scientists, Stanley Miller and Miller-Urey, decided, hey, let's actually try this. So they built this sealed-off contraption that mimicked early Earth. The water, the gases, the little electric sparks for lightning, the whole shebang. And what they found was absolutely groundbreaking. Now, let's be clear, they didn't create life, not even close. But after just a week, they found that several kinds of amino acids, the literal building blocks of life, had formed all by themselves. This was huge. It was the first proof that the basic ingredients for life could come from simple, natural chemistry. The primordial soup wasn't just an idea anymore. It was plausible. But what if life didn't start in a sunny pond at all? What if we've been looking in the wrong place entirely? What if it all began in the crushing blackness of the deep ocean, forged in fire and pressure? This leads us to the iron-sulfur world theory. It suggests life started at deep-sea hydrothermal vents. These things are basically underwater geysers, just spewing out hot, mineral-rich water from the Earth's core. They provide a constant source of chemical energy, tons of minerals, and the rocks around them are full of tiny little pores that act like natural test tubes, concentrating all the chemicals and kickstarting reactions. Just think about the advantages here for a second. While the surface was getting blasted by radiation and meteors, the deep sea vents were this protected, stable little haven. The energy wasn't random lightning strikes, it was a constant flow of chemicals. And those little rock pores could concentrate the ingredients for life way better than some huge diluted ocean. Okay, so we've looked at where life might have kicked off, the surface or the deep. But now we got to tackle an even bigger problem, the question of how the actual machinery of life could have gotten started. I mean, think about it. In all life today, DNA holds the genetic blueprint, but you need proteins to read that blueprint and build stuff. But the instructions to build those very proteins are stored in the DNA. It's a classic catch-22. You need proteins to make proteins. So which one came first, the chicken or the egg? The most elegant solution scientists have come up with is called the RNA world. You can think of RNA as DNA's super talented cousin. It's like a molecular Swiss Army knife. It can do two jobs at once. It can store information like DNA does, and it can also act like a protein to catalyze reactions and get work done. It's both the blueprint and the builder all wrapped up in one molecule.
So the theory goes that the very first life wasn't based on DNA and proteins at all. It was an RNA world. These RNA molecules could copy themselves and carry out basic life functions. Then, over millions and millions of years, the system could have evolved, eventually handing off the data storage job to the more stable DNA molecule and the heavy lifting to more efficient proteins. RNA was the bridge from simple chemistry to complex biology.
So far, we've been assuming life started right here on Earth. But there's one more big idea we have to talk about, one that suggests the seeds of life might have come from somewhere out there in the cosmos. This idea is called Panspermia, and it's pretty straightforward. Life didn't start here. It started somewhere else, maybe on Mars, back when it was wet, and then it traveled to Earth, hitching a ride on an asteroid or a comet that crashed here. And this isn't pure science fiction. We've actually found amino acids and other key organic molecules inside meteorites that have landed on Earth. Plus, we know that some incredibly tough little microbes, like the famous tardigrades or water bears, can actually survive the vacuum and radiation of space. So, it's not impossible. So, what do we do with all this? We've got these fascinating possibilities: a chemical soup, a deep-sea forge, an ancient RNA world, or even a delivery from outer space. What does the evidence actually tell us? Let's break it down, scorecard style. The primordial soup has solid experimental proof for its ingredients, but it has a weakness. How do those ingredients find each other in a huge, diluted ocean? Hydrothermal vents offer that perfect protected incubator, but we haven't yet seen them create the most complex molecules we need. The RNA world brilliantly solves that chicken and egg problem, but making RNA spontaneously is really, really hard. And panspermia? It explains why life showed up so fast on Earth, but it kind of just kicks the can down the road. It doesn't explain where life came from in the first place. And that really gets to the heart of it. Scientists are pretty confident that the building blocks of life can form naturally, one way or another. But the biggest leap, the real mystery, is how those non-living blocks organize themselves. How did a collection of molecules make that jump to become a living, breathing, self-replicating cell? That is the missing link. Which brings us right back to the start. So, where did we come from? Are we the descendants of a lightning strike in a shallow pond? Were we forged in the crushing darkness of the ocean floor? Or are we, in the most literal sense, the children of aliens? The truth is, we don't know for sure. Each of these theories gives us a tantalizing piece of the puzzle, but none of them gives us the whole picture just yet. And that's what makes this one of the greatest scientific mysteries of all time. For now, the question remains wide open, and the quest for answers continues.